Hi everyone, thank you for tuning in. This is episode 4 of Ask Grit. We are here today to answer all your questions regarding Australian property investments. I'm Hasna Harus. Joining me today is my colleague Janaka Vikramapatirana and the main man himself, Naveen De Silva. Hi Naveen.
Hello. Good evening.
Hi Janaka.
Hello, Hazza.
How's your weekend so far?
Yeah, good weekend. Lovely one.
How is it over there, Naveen?
Very good. Doing excellent.
Super. So we spoke about floor plans and customizing plans last episode. So this week, could we just dive right in? Now, what I would like to know is what assurance do I have that when we choose a builder of a project and it will not go bankrupt at or halt at completion?
I'm sure this is one of the clients' questions.
Yeah.
And it's a fair question too. Now, as a builder, when you're constructing a property, there's a lot of precautions because the real estate industry as a whole is very regulated over here. Now, as a builder, number one is we always work with the top 5 builders in Australia. So people like Metricon, Burbank, and the likes who are doing thousands of properties. So the chances of going bankrupt by such a builder is very less. But if that happens by a certain builder, when I say builder, we are talking contractor in most South Asian countries. In case if they go bankrupt, there is an insurance in place which they must have before they become a builder. In case if they cannot continue because of financial issues, the client can claim from the insurance and hand over to another builder to take on the project. Now it's going to be time consuming because this process will going to take time, but there is a process in place and there are precautions in place. So it will be covered by the insurance in case if a builder goes bust, and then the client can continue with another builder.
Right. So what if it's an apartment and the developer goes bankrupt?
Oh, another very good question. Again, as a developer, when you're doing, say, for example, an apartment project or a townhouse project, as a developer, they have to have the funds ready before they embark on a project. As a developer, they cannot use people's funds to do the project, which I know which happens in most South Asian countries. So as a developer, let's say, for example, a project would cost $100 million and he might go for a bank loan of about 60%, and he has to have 40% equity for him to carry out with the project. So as a developer, he should be stupid enough to start a project without the funds because he simply cannot continue. So the chances of going someone bust is extremely rare. Again, if that happens in an apartment project, from a buyer's point of view, they only pay a 10% deposit and then rest is on completion. And this 10% goes into a lawyer's trust account or an escrow account, which will be very safe. It will be a lawyer's account, and that funds cannot be touched by the developer or agent or by anyone. So it is extremely safe in case, for whatever reason, if the developer goes bust, the client's money is always safe and it will be refunded back.
Okay. So how does the client pay this to the lawyer's trust account? I mean, how is the fund? Do we get in?
Yeah, so the client transfers directly into the lawyer's trust account.
Hi, Naveen. There's a question from one Mr. Vishwadiri Surya.
Yeah.
He's asking, as grid property, how do we bring value to local, meaning overseas clients?
Yeah, so as an overseas investor, when you're investing in a property in Australia, there is a certain number of processes in place and which we need to take care of. So in terms of adding value, that's what we do and that's what we are here for. We take care of the end-to-end process for the investors, starting from choosing the property. We will advise them on where to invest. We will also organize finance for them if they want to. And then we will keep them updated on what's going on, because if a client is not there or if they don't have anyone here, someone has to let them know what is going on. So we will be sending regular updates to them. and then we will be renting out the property, managing it for them, and then reselling it for them. So we take care of the end-to-end process, and our world-class service is the most value addition, I would say.
Okay, now, thanks.
Okay, so I have a question. How is the final inspection of the property done, Naveen? So who conducts it and how much does it, like the cost, how much is it?
Yeah, final inspection when you're constructing a house, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, when you're constructing a house, there are 5 stages. They call it the base stage, which is where the foundation is laid, frame stage, lockup stage, fix, and the final. So during these 5 stages, builder will have an independent inspector inspecting the property so that they can get their feedback and fix if there are any issues. Especially the final inspection, there will be an independent inspector from the builder's side, but the client have the option of choosing their own inspector and have an independent inspection for himself, and we can facilitate that for them. Which means as a facilitation group, we will also do the inspections and make sure everything is in order. But especially at the final stage, we recommend doing independent inspection, where that way, if there are any issues, the builder has to fix it before the final handover.
Okay, so is it an additional cost or is it included in the package?
Yes, it will be additional cost, approximately $500 to $600.
Okay.
Hi, Naveen. A follow-up question from the previous gentleman. I think it's related to the previous question and answer that you gave.
Yeah.
Of Mr. Vishnu. There is a real question earlier, which is he's saying that anyway you spoke about renting the property as part of our end-to-end service. And
yeah.
His question right now is how does the company Grid Property help an investor find a tenant for a property rental?
Yeah. So the moment property is ready for handover, what we do is our rental department take it over and then rent it out. So there is again a process in place for that. Step number 1 is we sign authority with the landlord for us to manage the property, and then we do conduct inspections to get potential tenants in, and then after that we get applications from the tenants, and then what we do is we do a variety of checks, employment checks, validation checks, all those kind of checks to make sure they're not blacklisted or anything like that. So it's very important for us to have good tenants rather than having any tenant. And then once we shortlist the good tenants, we just have a discussion with the landlords and then put someone in. And then we conduct the routine inspections on an ongoing basis. And then the landlord will be up to date on a monthly basis on what is going on, what's the rentals which are coming in, and we manage all their bills. So all of that will be taken care of.
Okay. I hope that that answers this question. I think you have covered the whole procedure there.
What else have you got?
Yeah, there's another question from Mr. Pereira, this is Dylan Pereira. He's asking, how does a investor build up a property portfolio? I think what he's inquiring is that there are a lot of investors from Sri Lanka who have built up a property portfolio. I think even few of our clients who have come to that level, having multiple properties that have accumulated throughout the number of years. If you can touch base on that, Navi.
Yeah, so each client's situation is different. There might be clients who have a portfolio of properties in wherever it is, Sri Lanka, India, Dubai, but they want to diversify themselves. Or there might be someone who doesn't have any properties and they want to start on something. So what we do is we take them through a journey of a process where step number 1 is we have a consultation with them to see what their future aspirations are in terms of investments, in terms of property. So one might say, I want to have 50 properties in 20 years. Or one might say, I want to have 10 properties. One might say, I want to have 2 properties for my 2 kids. So each of their aspirations are different. So based on that, we come up with a plan and we discuss the plan with them on how they can achieve it. So it all starts with the first property. Let's say someone wants to do a 10 property portfolio within the next 10 years. So what we do is we come up with a plan for that, discuss with him. We start with the first one, and then typically the first property will be in a place where there's going to be capital appreciation, meaning over a period of 2 to 3 years, there will be capital appreciation where he can utilize the equity and use that as a deposit for the second property. So likewise, we come up with a plan and then we stick to the plan. We keep them up to date what's going on. In terms of execution, it's all up to us. We know the know-how, we know where to invest, and we advise them accordingly. And then on a yearly basis, we do a review on where we are at and what is our next step. And then step number 5 is we'll be there for life on an ongoing basis with ongoing support. So our objective is to make sure they reach their investment goals. So that there's so much to it, but in summary, that's how we do it for a potential investor. So anybody can do it. I mean, it all starts with the first property.
Thank you, Naveen.
Okay, so Naveen, this was brought up by a friend of mine. He wanted to know how we assist clients obtain the insurance of the property and what does the insurance cover and how much it costs.
Great question. A lot of people don't think about it. Yeah, so insurance is an outgoing. So this all happens until the construction is done. It is the builder's responsibility. Even if something gets lost, it is the builder's responsibility or the developer's responsibility. After handover, it is the responsibility of the owner. So we always make sure we have insurance in place on the date where the handover is taking place. In terms of insurance, if it's a house, it is a bit different from a house, townhouse, or an apartment. If it is a house, we take a building insurance, which covers them from any theft, natural disasters, as well as we also get something called a landlord insurance, which will cover them from in case if the tenant goes default. If the tenant stops paying them, then this insurance will kick in and it will cover them for 10 weeks. And also, if they have damaged the house when they leave, if the bond cannot cover it, the insurance will again kick in. So those are really important insurances which we take for our clients so that they have protection right throughout. In terms of a townhouse or an apartment, there is a fee called owner's corporation or body corporation fee. This is also known as a condominium fee in most countries. So this will also cover the building insurance. So there is an annual fee which has to be paid quarterly. This will also cover the building insurance. Building insurance meaning the building of the apartment or the house. But again, it does not cover the landlord insurance. So we encourage all our landlords to get that, especially if it's in the rental market. Hope that has clarified it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Naveen, we have got another question. What sort of concessions that have been granted by the Australian government to the investors, and what sort of impact it has created in the Australian property market as of right now?
Yeah, it's full of grants at the moment, full of concessions. Yeah, so there's few. Number one is this particular one is only for citizens of Australia, not only one for PR. You get $25,000 if you sign a contract by 31st of December and commence construction by June 2021, you get $25,000. It's called the Home Builders Grant. As a first home buyer, this is for residents or PR holders and citizens. If it is their first house, they get $10,000 from the government. There's also a stamp duty concession for the first home buyers, again, residents or citizens. Up to $600,000 in Victoria, the stamp duty is free. So that's like a $30,000 benefit. So overall, if you're a citizen, I mean, you can end up getting a $65,000 benefit when you're buying as a first home. So it's a massive amount of money. And also this was only for first home buyers. Last week, the government also introduced a stamp duty concession for investors. If they're buying a second home or an investment property, you get 50% off from stamp duty. So if you're buying something for $500,000, you would have paid about $25,000 in stamp duty, but now you'll be paying about $12,500. So there's 4 types of concessions, and all this is driving the market crazy. It's especially in the land space in the outer suburbs, because that's where the construction is happening. Builders are extremely busy. It's very difficult to get hold of them these days. And land developers don't even talk to us. They are selling their lands like hotcakes. So this has created, I mean, it's a really smart move by the government, because they were getting the momentum going, and to make sure the property market is not going to crash. I mean, a lot of people were predicting that it's going to crash by 20, 30, 40%. Nothing happened. So it has created a real need for the buyers an urgency for the buyers to get into the market.
Okay, Naveen. By any chance, has the Australian government has said that what is the period of the concession grant period of including the new stamp duty regulation?
Yeah, stamp duty will be there for 6 months.
Okay, so we'll have to capitalize on it while it lasts.
Exactly. And you never know, if they feel it's enough, they might stop it. But the first home owners grant will be there for some time. But again, the builders grant of 25,000 will also lapse after June.
Okay.
Very good questions, guys. Is it all for today?
Do you have any other questions coming in?
No, I'm kind of done. Jonathan, anything else from your end?
Oh, there is one more. They have asked about Perth. Yeah, so that's a very interesting question. I'm sure the person who asked the question would have heard something about Perth. Actually, Perth is going to boom, especially because of the mining. Perth is a market, or Western Australia is a market where it's going to be really, really hot in terms of properties when the mining boom happens, and it goes to sleep when the mining boom is not there. At the moment, there's so much of demand for coal, nickel, gold, and iron ore. Especially nickel and gold has been in so much of demand. Iron ore and coal have been in, by default, that's where the demand is. But for resources, there's so much of demand, and this is going to create a property boom in Western Australia. Even the Westpac Bank itself has predicted about a 12% growth in Perth, which is phenomenal. So it's definitely areas of interest for the next 2 years. And you can really get into the market at quite a low amount than Melbourne or Sydney.
Okay, Naveen, thank you. I think that is the end of our question session, and we are going to sign off from here in a little while.
Beautiful.
Thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Naveen. Thank you, Hasna. And what we will do is, after the live session, we will actually post it in our Grid Property page. And we plan to catch you all on the next episode of our live session. And thank you for, first of all, investing with us for Australia. And hope you all have a safe weekend.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Naveen. Bye.